Before you set yet another eating or weight loss goal for 2026, you need to understand the eating patterns that you have repeated all year long. Today, I'm going to teach you why you continue to not hit your eating, health, and weight loss goals year after year after year, how to eliminate any shame about where your eating habits are right now, and 6 powerful questions to help you learn from your past year of eating. Now, I personally love this time of year. I am recording this in the middle of December, and I am already starting to evaluate my goals from this past year and think about my intentions for the year ahead. It's so important to me to make sure that I look backwards first, so I don't just set random goals and intentions for the new year that don't actually mean that much to me and aren't actually the right goals based off of what I want for my own life. I look at all of my goals and evaluate them all, from my personal goals to my business goals. So this process that you're going to learn today and these questions you can apply to both your eating habits and your health goals, but also to any other goal that you have had throughout 2025. Some people think that the dreaming, the imagining, the planning for the next year is the most fun part, but I actually think that the evaluating is, because it always gives me so much clarity and ahas that my next year's goals are so clearly backed by real data from the year before. And a big mistake I see people making is just thinking about the fun part of what do I want for my life? Because if you don't take this time right now to evaluate your eating habits, it's going to be like Groundhog Day, where every single day you wake up and you have the same day with food over and over again. You keep repeating the same mistakes until you actually learn from them. Most people go into January with really vague goals like, I want to eat healthier, I want to stop binge eating, I want to be more consistent. But that is not going to get you where you want to go. You never ask, well, why did I binge this year? Why did I lose my consistency? Why didn't I eat as healthy as I wanted to? And looking at those things is what will actually help you be able to get to your goals in the new year. So evaluating your eating habits today is truly one of the most important first steps. And then next week in our episode, I'm going to be teaching you the exact plan of how you're going to stop binge eating in 2026. So make sure that you're subscribed. So after you do all this amazing work this week, you'll be able to take that and apply it to your unique step-by-step plan that I'll help you create, so you can become a confident eater next year. The truth is, if you are continuing to set the same goals every single year, something is not working about your process. And I know that the second you hear, we're going to evaluate your eating habits, your brain might want to shut down, because this might be a lot like what you did when you were dieting, where you asked yourself, what did I do wrong this year? What did I mess up? What did I eat that I shouldn't have? Where did I fail? That is not what we are doing today. We are gathering data about your year like a scientist so you can change a pattern. You can't change what you don't understand. Now, another big obstacle I'll see people run into this time of year is they feel so much judgment and shame. And this will really block you from setting a clear-hearted goal for the next year around food. We just got through the holidays, and I know that there might be a lot of guilt and shame coming up about where you are right now and how it might have shown up the past couple weeks. My guess is you had at least one night where you told yourself you wouldn't snack after dinner, but then after everyone went to bed, you opened the gift box on the counter with the chocolates and ate one after the other while barely tasting them because you weren't really hungry. And it just felt automatic. And then the guilt hits and you grabbed more and more and more because you already messed up the day. And without even realizing it, you've distilled down your entire year to a couple of bad moments this holiday season and said, this has been a really bad year around food. I've really let myself go. I failed again. Something must just be wrong with me. When we are in this place of guilt and shame about our eating habits, it makes us feel discouraged and more likely to give up. But it is normal to feel this way when you're not eating the way you want to be eating. Learning how to process this emotion of guilt is a key skill that will also help you get out of these eating habits. I remember last year, I didn't hit one of my goals and I vocalized it to my personal coach that I have. And I felt really embarrassed that I didn't reach this goal. But the second that I admitted it and said how I felt around it, that was the second I was freed from that embarrassment and was able to move forward from it. So I want you to make a promise to yourself today to move forward with compassion and empathy. Where you are right now is just a neutral fact. It is not good. It is not bad. It is just information about your relationship with food. You've probably been trying to do this on your own for a while now without support, and that is a difficult thing to do. So stay kind to yourself while you are evaluating so you can actually learn from this. We know studies have shown time and time again that shame is not an effective long-term motivator. It can feel like in the moment that beating ourselves up and calling ourselves names and telling ourselves how frustrated we are around our goals feels helpful. But when we look at the reality of what happens when we do that, we usually just want to lay in bed and eat snacks all day. We don't actually make progress towards our goals. Okay, so let's go into the exact questions of how you're going to evaluate your eating habits in 2025. So I have made a worksheet with you that has all of these questions I'm going to go over, as well as a few bonus ones I'm not including anywhere in this episode. And this worksheet is going to be in the show notes as part of my Podcast Worksheet Bundle. There's a few other awesome episodes in there that you can check out that have the worksheet and that go along with it too. But I want you to make sure that you download this worksheet and print it out so you can really go deep with these questions and journal on them for maximum clarity and results. Listening alone is not going to help you change. You need to take action, otherwise your brain will stay the same, and this will go in one ear and out the other. Okay, so make a promise to go get that worksheet. The first question we have is, when did eating feel easy this year, and why? You have had moments in 2025 where food did feel peaceful. I promise you, even if it was one singular moment, even if those moments were short. I want you to think back to a specific day where food just wasn't that big of a deal. Just didn't feel dramatic about it. You just ate and moved on. Maybe it was a time when you were traveling and you just didn't overthink things. Or a week where your cravings were lower. Maybe you had a meal where you ate normally and didn't spiral and all the thoughts about it after. Then ask yourself, what was happening on those days? What was not happening? How were my thoughts different on that day versus the normal day? These moments will show you that your brain has this natural ability to regulate when it's supported, when it has the right mindset. And we need to look at those examples of the times that we can do this to get our motivation up and to feel inspired and to be in this emotion of possibility. That stopping binge eating this year is something we could definitely do by looking at the times that we probably haven't done it. Second, where did you grow this year, even if you haven't seen the results yet? I love this one because your brain rarely acknowledges the ways that you've improved. And all the little wins and steps along the journey, even if they're not where you want to be yet, those are important to celebrate because that means you're changing. You're not staying stuck. And sometimes we just need to be patient. Maybe you just found me a couple weeks ago and you're just now listening to this podcast. Welcome. And you might be starting to grow and change, or maybe you're one of my clients in my Confident Eater program. You've worked with me and you've started making amazing progress. You want to look at those things and make sure that you acknowledge them and you feel proud of them. So maybe you've started to notice your urges and get more clarity around when they arise. Maybe you have been practicing more mindful bites and sitting down when you have a snack versus standing up and gobbling it all down. Creating boundaries around food instead of just restricting. Instead of saying, I'm not having this, you say, sometimes I choose not to have this because it doesn't feel good to myself. Or you set boundaries around other people who are trying to food push on you. Maybe you've caught the F it moment earlier, where instead of saying, screw it, I'm just gonna keep eating for the next week, you don't do that. You stop yourself after a binge and you just let that binge be without making it turn into something more. Growth always happens before you get the results. And if you're only focused on that day where you step on the scale and you get to that magical number you have in your head, you're gonna feel really discouraged every other day. And it's not gonna be fun. This journey is supposed to be fun. Yes, sometimes working on our eating habits feels hard and heavy, but I don't really believe that it has to be. I'm a pretty fun gal. I like to make changing your eating habits something that is exciting, something that's enjoyable, not some miserable diet that you're on, because it's fun to become the version of us that we want to be. All of these little moments matter so much more than you ever know. Third, what were your predictable binge or overeating patterns? Everyone has patterns. Maybe it was the Sunday scary spiral, being alone at night, sugar after dinner, skipping meals, being tired or overwhelmed. Whatever they are, there's no shame in this. Our patterns are our survival strategies. It is how our brains save energy, but we want to expose our patterns so they stop running the show on autopilot. 4, what was the biggest lie your brain told you this year about food? This one is huge. Your brain gives you stories all day long that feel true, but are not. Just because we have a thought doesn't mean it's true. So maybe you had this story that just told you all the time, I'll just start tomorrow. I'll start Monday. I'll start next month. This consistent, I'll start over story. That is a lie. Maybe the lie was, I already messed up, so it doesn't matter if I keep eating more. That is a lie. Sugar will calm me down. Sugar never calms us down. It always makes us feel worse. That is a lie. I deserve this. No one deserves to feel the pain of binge eating. Lie. I can't handle my cravings. That's a lie. You can. It's 100% possible. People have done it. You handle cravings for other things all the time in your life. When you see that cute shirt at Target and you decide you're not going to buy it, that is handling a craving for something. So pick one of these phrases that showed up for you most consistently in 2025 and write out why it's a lie. All of the reasons that you thought it was true, but it's actually false. Because that sentence alone is probably keeping your binge cycle alive. 5, what things did you try this year that did or didn't help your eating habits? And along with that, why do I think that these approaches haven't gotten me to where I want to be yet? This helps you understand, okay, is there anything that I've been trying that's been working for me? For example, maybe I've been sitting down mindfully and that's been so helpful. Take a note of that. Maybe there's some things that haven't really worked. Maybe you tried intermittent fasting this year and it lasted for a month or two, then you fell off the wagon and you still felt like you could binge in those 8 hours and you felt restricted at nighttime, and then you told yourself, I got to get it all in dinner before my fast ends. That might be an example of something that you felt that didn't work. Maybe you've been working with another person on your binge eating. You've been working with a therapist. I see all the time people come to me and they're working with therapists for like 4 or 5 years and they're still in the exact same place. They might have some great awareness and they love talking to their therapist. They find it useful to talk to them, but they haven't actually changed their eating habits. And I'm like, girlfriend, work with me for 6 months and we'll get this solved. You don't need to be in therapy for 10 years to get this under control. So really look at, okay, if something could get me results faster, might I want to try that this year? Might I want to explore my other options of how I could get out of this that I haven't already tried so far? And our final one for this episode is, if I repeated how 2025 went with food this year, what would be the impact? This shows your brain why changing their eating habits is the most important goal and brings it to the forefront. So often people's goals will just go on the back burner and you'll say, I'll work on this another time. My life is busy right now. This is too hard to change. And it can feel innocent in that moment. It can feel like it's not that big of a deal. But that's where you end up 10 years from now, 50 pounds heavier, with diabetes, with joint pain every time you wake up because of the extra weight on your body and inflammation, with tens of thousands of dollars less in your bank account because you've spent it all on binge foods. That is the reality of the long-term impacts of this habit. And if we do not show our brain that, then it makes it seem like it's not that big of a deal, when it is. It's a big deal. So if this next year around food went exactly like this last one, would you be okay with it? And if not, maybe that's something you want to change. Okay, so make sure you go get the worksheet for a bonus couple questions on evaluating your year. It's a good time to just spend just 10, 20 minutes out of your day for you so that you can learn and grow from this. And make sure you're following along so you can get next week's episode on our exact plan of how you're going to stop binge eating in 2026.